Okay, welcome back. One way to think about this online course on culture and diversity is as a long and winding road, as you see pictured here. But of course, you may not have felt that way as you sprinted your way through it. Um, in any case, what I'd like to do here in Module 10 is a little different. We're going to do a bit of reviewing to help you prepare for the final. I think it's helpful to go quickly back through the course and to pull out some of what I think are the key points. You may have different key points, which you'll be able to write about on the final. There's some leeway, but I'll share with you some of mine. And then we also, of course, need to finish Renegade Dreams. We're almost finished with that. There's some learning outcomes here. So I'd like you to be able to demonstrate an understanding of key anthropological concepts and to show how these concepts can be used to analyze and think critically about diversity, power and inequality, inclusion and exclusion, and modes of representation in the U.S. That's been a theme all the way through the course. Describe and explain the development and construction of differences and similarities among contemporary groups, cultural borders, sex and gender, religion and culture, language, some of the key themes in the second half of the course. Identify and explain key diverse cultural groupings in the U.S., including history, values, communication styles, economic practices, the role of ethnocentrism, and cross-cultural insight into cultural difference, right? So those are broader, I think, goals, but at least ones that we can think about and that you'll get a chance to write about on the final. Okay, there are a couple of readings. I do want you to read Mark Nathan Cohen's Transforming the Culture of Intolerance from his 1998 book, Culture of Intolerance, Chauvinism, Class, and Racism in the United States. And so in this provocative final chapter, which we'll be reading, Cohen, an anthropologist, looks critically at mainstream American culture, growing inequality, our distorted sense of history, culture, economics, and social justice that weigh heavily on those who face daily hardship and discrimination. So you don't have to agree with Cohen, and I'm sure that some of you will not, but I am asking you to read him and to engage him in your final essays. And then the second reading assignment is to finish Renegade Dreams, right? There's a field notes, a conclusion, and then a very brief postscript. So I'd like you to do that. And then the readings are followed by study questions. There's one film or film clip. I'd like you to view the first episode of Viceland, the Viceland video series Chirac, which in this series looks at the relationship between segregation, violence, and a type of Chicago hip-hop music called drill. And this first episode follows the career of a young musician, Chief Keef, and a talented producer, self-taught, young chop. And as the journalist who sort of narrates the program, Thomas Morton, puts it, Chicago is a perfect breeding ground for anger, resentment, violence, and the type of awesome music that comes from such an environment. And in a discussion, I'll ask you to compare this video representation of Gangland Chicago with Renegade Dreams. And then the last part is a two-part video presentation. I want to provide a brief review of the course, what I see as key concepts, approaches, and takeaways. There's no quiz on this presentation, but I'll ask you to write on the presentation in the final exam, right? So it's a kind of refresher of where we've been in this 9 or 10 module course. And finally, to complete the course, you'll take the final. To receive credit, all work, you need to finish all work by the end date of the course, right? And I need to get grades in for you. And so I need a few days to correct it, and there is a cutoff date. And if you're still with me at this point, I want to congratulate you and commend you for pushing through this. We're almost there, and I hope you'll take something away with you as you move on to the next step in your education and your lives. Thank you.